Welcome to Diva On A Mission podcast, where we share snippets of joy to uplift, inspire, and motivate you. I am your host, Eva the Diva, and I am thrilled to bring you stories that transform everyday moments into profound experiences. I am preparing for an exciting dance conference coming up this weekend of the 21st and 22nd of August. It's the Nairobi Afro Latin Festival, and it is also promoting the Akoma Festival that happens in Cape Town in November. And I'm excited because a couple of years ago, participating in any way in a conference of this size would have been very scary. But now I'm excited. I am preparing. I am not hiding. I am not anxious about finding ways where I can hide my anxiety, my feeling of being unprepared. I am actually basking in every feeling, whether it is what you consider negative or not. If I feel unprepared, I practice. If I feel anxious, I find ways to calm myself down. If I feel like I have nothing to wear, I try on different looks, figure out my makeup, figure out what I will wear, figure out my options, right? And recently on Instagram, I had someone talking about hiding and how it is a very dangerous behavior. And, I had never really considered hiding as a dangerous habit. And so I thought, you know what, this is something that we should discuss on Diva On A Mission podcast because we're all about uh, improving ourselves and how we present to the world and how we feel as we do the things that we are passionate about. Yes? And so I wanted to explore the hiding complex and figure out what are we protecting and what does that cost us, right? So sometimes hiding can look like strength, it can look like perfection, independence, intelligence, and about appearing as a person who is always okay. That's hiding from other people, even from ourselves. Because sometimes the person we are most determined to convince is ourselves. So here's a paradox: to hide is to protect. The ego can hide in an attempt to protect itself from its own perceived inadequacy. The ego can hide in an attempt to protect itself from its own perceived inadequacy, vulnerability, or shame. And the more we hide, the more we convince, or the more convincing the hiding becomes, until eventually we forget what is underneath that mask. I want us to explore what I call the hiding complex. And perhaps somewhere in this conversation, you'll recognize a little piece of yourself and find ways to improve yourself and then be better for it. So, the paradox of hiding. Let's think about this. The ego hides to feel safe, but hiding can actually strengthen fear. The ego hides to appear whole, but hiding can split us into two people: the person everyone sees and the person we privately believe ourselves to be. And the more we hide something, the more we start believing that there must be something shameful about it. That's the trap. Because eventually, the thing we're protecting ourselves from isn't the truth. It's the belief that the truth makes us unworthy. And perhaps that's why real freedom doesn't necessarily begin with public confession. It begins with private honesty. You don't have to tell everyone your secrets. You don't have to expose every wound or turn your life into a public testimony. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is sit with yourself and say, yes, this is what I feel, without judgment, performance, or running away. So, You're wondering, Eva, how does this show up in my everyday life? Let's explore. There is the perfectionism as camouflage. You keep polishing, preparing, researching, waiting. You tell yourself it's not ready yet. But perhaps the real fear isn't that the work isn't ready, but that you're afraid that once it's finished, people can finally see it and therefore see you. An unfinished project can still hold infinite potential. It cannot be criticized. It cannot be misunderstood. It cannot be rejected. A finished dream can reveal its imperfections. So sometimes perfectionism isn't really about excellence, it's camouflage. And the question becomes, am I improving this because it genuinely needs improvement? Or am I hiding behind improvement because I'm afraid of being seen? Right? I know. You need to sit with that one. All right? 2, intellectualizing your emotions. This one is a bit sneaky. Something hurts. Instead of saying, I'm terrified, you say, I'm experiencing a stress response. Instead of saying, that broke my heart, you say, there are interesting psychological dynamics happening here. Now, understanding ourselves is wonderful. And, the intellectual argument has a purpose. However, sometimes the mind turns pain into a research project because feeling the pain feels too vulnerable. We analyze, categorize, intellectualize, explain anything except feeling the thing. Sometimes the most intelligent thing you can say is, this hurts. This broke my heart. I am devastated. Number 3, people pleasing and mirroring. You become whoever the room needs you to be. You agree, you accommodate, you adapt. You suppress the opinion that might cause friction. You become so skilled at reading everyone else that you stop reading yourself. And eventually, you may find yourself asking, what do I actually want? Because approval can become a hiding place. You hide yourself inside other people's expectations. And the tragedy is that everyone may love the version of you you have constructed, while the real you is sitting quietly somewhere inside, waiting to be invited back into the conversation. And the part that hurts about this is that you hurt yourself by hiding yourself. I know. These things, they bite at you, and they're even biting at me as I'm having this conversation because I know the ways in which I do these things. Number 4, hyper independence. Like, I've got this. I am strong. Don't worry about me. I will handle it. I don't need anyone. Sometimes independence is strength, but sometimes independence is armor. Because needing someone means admitting, I can't do everything alone. And for some of us, that feels dangerously close to helplessness. So we build the fortress, we carry everything, we refuse the helping hand. We call exhaustion resilience. But here's the uncomfortable truth: receiving can be vulnerable too. Sometimes allowing someone to help you is not weakness, it's trust. Number 5, subtle self-sabotage. This one can be particularly difficult to recognize. Everything is going well, and suddenly you become late. You procrastinate. You forget something important. You create unnecessary chaos. You retreat just before the opportunity arrives. And then you say, see, it wasn't meant to work. Failure becomes an escape route. Because if you never fully step into the opportunity, you never have to discover what happens when you are truly seen. Sometimes we sabotage the opportunity not because we don't want it, but because getting it would require us to become someone we haven't yet given ourselves permission to be. So, how do we stop the hiding? Is it by force? No. We can't force ourselves to become completely exposed, not by telling everyone everything, and certainly not by shaming ourselves for having defenses. Instead, we begin gently. So, let's practice. Once a day, say one small thing you would normally suppress. I am nervous. I am jealous. I need help. That hurt me. I don't know. Say it before the ego has time to construct a more acceptable version. Small truths build emotional courage. Step 2. Name the fear. When you notice yourself hiding, ask, what am I afraid will happen if I am seen? And finish the sentence. I am hiding because I believe I am not good enough. I am hiding because I believe I am not smart enough. I am hiding because I believe I am too short, too tall, too fat, too thin, too black, too brown. There are 1,000 ways, but finish the sentence. They'll reject me. I'll disappoint them. I'll lose control. Once the fear has language, it becomes something you can examine. A nameless fear can feel enormous. A named fear can become a conversation. Step 3. Practice imperfect exposure. Submit the work at 80%. Speak before you've rehearsed the perfect sentence. Try something without knowing exactly how it will turn out. Let yourself be a beginner, because sometimes your nervous system needs evidence that imperfection is survivable. You don't need to become fearless. You need to discover I can be imperfect and still be okay. Number 4, ask for one small thing. Ask for directions. Ask for feedback. Ask someone to help you carry something, for clarification, for support. Small acts of dependence can dismantle the belief that your worth depends on doing everything alone. Number 5, create a private space for the hidden self. Write down what you don't allow yourself to say. The jealousy, the anger, the fear, the resentment, embarrassing thoughts, impossible dreams, contradictions. Write it without editing yourself. And then, if it feels right for you, destroy the page. Not because those thoughts are evil, but because you're teaching yourself something important. I can look at what I feel without being destroyed by it. So, I know you're thinking, hiding is not a dangerous habit. It is not an expensive habit. Let's think through that for a minute. What is the cost of hiding? Because hiding isn't free. It costs us. It costs us energy. Maintaining a false front takes work. You're constantly monitoring yourself. How do I look? What should I say? Did they notice? Did I reveal too much? Am I still in control? That's a lot of cognitive bandwidth, energy that could have gone into creating, loving, learning, and living. 2, it costs us connection. People can't truly connect with a version of you that never gets to exist. If you always present the polished version, people may admire you. They may even love you, but you may still feel lonely because being surrounded by people isn't the same as being known. And sometimes loneliness is the price we pay for protecting ourselves from vulnerability. 3, it costs us evolution. You cannot transform what you refuse to acknowledge. The hidden part stays frozen. You grow professionally, you grow financially, you grow intellectually, you age, you achieve. But somewhere inside, an old fear is still standing at the same door asking, "Are we safe yet? Can I come in?" Growth requires us to turn toward that part, not to punish it, not to shame it, but to say, "I see you." The real question here is, should I stop hiding? Because some things deserve privacy, some boundaries are healthy, some secrets are sacred. And vulnerability without discernment isn't necessarily courage. The better question is, what am I protecting? And then, is what I am protecting worth the price I'm paying to keep it hidden? Because perhaps the goal isn't to eliminate the ego, perhaps it's to stop letting the fear run the entire household, to stop confusing protection with imprisonment, to stop mistaking a mask for a face, and to close the distance between who you are and who you think you're supposed to be. So here's your Diva On A Mission question for today. What are you hiding from yourself right now? You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell anyone. Just ask yourself and then listen to yourself. Because perhaps freedom doesn't begin when everyone else finally sees you. Perhaps freedom begins when you stop looking away from yourself. This is Diva On A Mission. Until next time, remember, you can find us on YouTube at Diva On A Mission Podcast. Subscribe, like this, comment, share it. Follow us on TikTok at DOAM Podcast, at TikTok at DOAM Pod, or send us an email at doampodcast@gmail.com. Remember, the mission is simply coming home to yourself. Until then, peace. Dayo.